All right, I'm here with the Naia 11 by the Wild Tribe. And this is a board and a company that I actually received a lot of requests earlier this season to review. And so we reached out and finally got one. So the Naia 11 is an all-around from the Wild Tribe. It's 11 feet by 32 inches according to spec. Our sawhorse, it only measured 31 1/4, so it is a little bit narrower. But one of the key things about the Wild Tribe is all of the boards that they make are 4.7 inches thick. So a little bit thinner than your typical inflatable SUP. And the idea behind that is to lower the board a bit closer to the water, make you feel a little bit more connected, give you a little bit lower center of gravity for better stability, and just kind of change the feel of the board a little bit. Now there are some trade-offs when you do that, primarily with rigidity. As the thicker the board is, the more rigid it's going to be. So my first impressions while paddling the Naia is it does have a nice, comfortable cruising feel to it, the board itself. I can feel just a little bit of flex in it. And in particular, from going over some chop, I did notice I could feel it through my feet a little bit more. And again, that's just that rigidity. And I'll bounce a little bit here, but it has, moderately high amount of flex. And I do feel it, and if you're trying to pick up speed, you really feel it. So I would say paddler weight, I'm 215 pounds, so I wouldn't recommend any more than that. And ideal would probably be closer to 180 or so. But performance-wise, it tracks incredibly well. It's really easy to get up to a cruising speed and maintain that very comfortably. However, it's a little bit harder to go faster than that, and that's because of the paddle. And my open letter, my wish to all manufacturers out there, cut it out with the aluminum paddles. This is my first day out with the Naia, and I don't know if you can see it on here. I took a picture, but it's already bent. It doesn't take much, and it's really unfortunate because you can't bend aluminum back. Every time you bend it, it weakens it, as opposed to fiberglass or carbon fiber that flexes on purpose and then retains its shape. Or it doesn't retain its shape, it goes back. The aluminum retains its shape when it bends, and now you just have a bent paddle. It's also very heavy, almost 34 ounces, and the handle itself is actually really small. So you have this weird, like, heavy blade, heavy paddle, small handle. While I was doing some testing earlier, it was really hard to not think about how it felt. I mentioned that because the paddle, it just kept popping up in my head while I was paddling it. I think the paddle is the weakest part of the whole here for the Naia, and it's unfortunate to have an accessory like that be such a forefront while I'm paddling it, because the board itself does feel good on the water. Like I said, it tracks really well, has good cruising speed. Maneuverability is about average for an 11 by 32 board. It moves around fairly efficiently, and it's just comfortable. Stability wise is good. There's no rolling or twitching. It is a heavy board. The Naia weighs in at just under 25 pounds. I think it was like 24.4 or something. So it is a little bit heavy for a 4.7 inch board. Overall though, I like the vibe. It's a nice looking board. It feels good. The deck pad is nice and grippy without being too aggressive. The graphics are fun on it. It's got this Shaka beaver on the front that I think is probably my favorite individual graphic element of a paddleboard I've seen so far, so that's pretty good. And price-wise, last time I checked, I think the Naia is sitting around $600 for the whole kit, and that's pretty good for most mid-range inflatable paddleboards anyway. And I don't think I've ever seen a 4.7 inch thick board for that price point. They're almost always $700 or so just for the board, or more. So It's actually a really good price if you are looking for a thinner board, if you want that thinner board feel. It's comfortable, it's fun, it's got a nice feel to it. The paddle, I think, is just the biggest thing that kind of is bringing me down a little bit on it.